Thor's coming.
Yes, Thor is coming. I hope so.
And I hope he looks like Chris Hemsworth.
I love me. I'm muscly blonde.
Hey, this is Megan.
And Sue in the restricted section.
And today we're going to be talking about our 3 least favorite books, since we did a video on our 3 most favorite books.
Yes.
So.
And we're drinking 2 different beers today because even though we're going to put it out second, we actually just filmed our blind beer tasting challenge. We're not sure what we're going to call it yet.
Right.
But we picked 2 beers that we drank from there. And I'm drinking Peter, Pale, and Mary from Mikkeller Brewing. It's a folk pale ale. So that's what I'm having.
There you go. Up in there. There you go. And I am drinking Vanilla Bean Buffalo Sweat by Tallgrass Brewing Company. So, whorp, whorp.
There we go.
All right, so the first book I'm going to talk about is While My Sister Sleeps by Barbara Delinsky. And this was actually a book that we read for our book club because I probably wouldn't have read it otherwise. But it's basically about 2 sisters, and one of them, I think, is out jogging and ends up in a coma. And so it talks about the other sister and their family dealing with the fact that the sister's in a coma. And the book put me in a coma.
And we apologize for the noise. It's storming here right now, so
yeah,
there's a bunch of thunder and rain going on right now.
Yeah, this book put me in a coma. It was just real boring. And the sister, the uncomatose sister, was a whiny little brat. I thought.
Yeah.
She was a grown-ass woman. You're grown, act grown. I couldn't really relate to it. And it was super boring, and I hated all of the characters.
My first book that I'm going to talk about is In the Woods by Tana French. I've heard a few people talk about this on BookTube before, and actually most people like it. I think partly for me, I'm just not super into this genre because it is a thriller, mystery thriller, and it's about a little girl is found dead in the woods. And they're trying to figure out what happened to her. And the murder is also very similar to something that happened to this detective who's working on the case when he was a child. He grew up in this area as well. And so there's sort of 2 mysteries going on of what happened to this girl and also what happened to him when he was a child, because that was never solved. And I just kind of... First of all, it's part of a series. Like, there's other books following these same people, the same detectives. Right. And I just wasn't interested enough in this book to continue reading. And the case in this book, to me, that was more interesting was what happened to this detective when he was a boy. And that wasn't resolved in this book. You have to read more to figure that out, but I just didn't want to read more.
Right.
And then I also felt like the resolution of the other mystery of what happened to the little girl was kind of a cop-out.
Like, it was too easy.
Yeah, the resolution was a little too easy, and just, I didn't enjoy it too much. But like I said, I'm not a big fan of mystery thriller books in general, so maybe if you're into that genre, you might enjoy this.
Right.
But I didn't care for it much at all.
Much at all. So the next book that I'm going to talk about is Under the Dome by Stephen King. Because mostly this book was just a giant disappointment. Because first of all, the book is like 9,000 years long. And that's fine. But then, and it was really like interesting throughout, because it's about this town where like this invisible dome suddenly drops down over the town. And if you're like on the border where the dome drops, it like cuts you in half, and like it's crazy. And so the people in the town start to freak out. Naturally, like you do,
right?
Because they're trapped in the town.
That must be what the Simpsons movie was based on.
Was Under the Dome. I think they made it into a TV show.
That happened in the Simpsons.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
I'm wearing a Bart Simpson shirt.
Yes. You can see the top of his little.
I like
dome.
The Simpsons.
I know you love the Simpsons. So maybe maybe it had to do with it. I don't know. But they did make it into a TV show, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Which is fine. But the whole book was decent. Like, it was pretty good, and it was interesting, and like I really wanted to know what was going on. And so I'm reading it, It's great. And then I get to the ending, and it is the dumbest fucking ending ever. And so I felt like that book sucked a little bit of my life into it.
Yeah.
And then it was so fucking dumb. So yeah, it was just a big disappointment book for me.
Bummer. The next book on my list is one that I talked about recently because I read it last month, but it's Alice in Zombieland by Nicholas Cook and Lewis Carroll. This was just a retelling of Alice in Wonderland, but with zombies. And that's all it was. I mean, it just wasn't executed well. Instead of adding anything of value to the story, he just changed things to be dark and creepy. Like
inserted macabre elements.
Yeah, and like he did nothing to contribute to the story. It was just like, oh, instead of this, it's this, and instead of this, it's this. You know, it was just stupid, and the end especially was really stupid. I hated it, and I should have known better because I read Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, which is by Jane Austen and Seth Grahame-Smith. And I didn't really enjoy that either. It was better than Alice in Zombieland.
Okay.
But, and he did contribite to the story. Like, he did add to the story. But it was just really boring. Like, the zombie parts weren't interesting to me. It didn't add anything good to the story, in my opinion.
Okay.
So, you know, again, maybe this type of thing just isn't for me.
Right.
But I didn't enjoy either of those books, but I especially didn't enjoy Alice in
Zombieland one. Yeah. That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because I do love a good zombie tale.
Me too. And I love, like, World War Z is one of my favorite books.
Yeah, that was a really
World
good
War
book.
Z.
Yeah.
Yeah, but those two, both of them were pretty disappointing.
Wah, wah. All right. So the last book that I'm going to talk about is called The Silent Wife by A.S.A. Harrison. And I've saved that one for last because of the amount of hatred I hold for that book.
If she hadn't chose this for hers, I would have chosen it for mine.
It's a terrible book.
I also hated this book.
And again, this was a book that we read for our book club. It was the very first book that we ever read in our book club.
And it had fantastic reviews.
Right, which is why it was selected. Because, I mean, to the person who chose it, to their credit, like, it had great reviews. It's a New York Times bestseller. And, like, the description, like, the little brief description given of the book makes it sound pretty interesting. You had no way of knowing how bad it sucked unless you actually read it. And it was terrible. The characters were super unrelatable. They were, like, very affluent, and the problems that they had were really, like, not actual problems.
Kind of, yeah.
Like, it was kind of like, oh, woe is me, my life is so sad.
And the woman was just so frustrating.
Oh,
to me.
She was an idiot.
So frustrating.
Yes.
She was just like, if I ignore it,
it'll go away.
She does nothing. She does nothing.
Nothing. Not one thing. It was a horrible book. And it said something about, like, in the description that it was very suspenseful and it, like, kept you on the edge of your seat and all. No. That's a lie. Yeah, it was.
And lots of people compared it to Gone Girl.
Yeah.
And have you read Gone Girl?
No, I read other books by Gillian Flynn, but not.
I read Gone Girl, and it is similar in ways in that it's like each chapter switches back and forth between the husband and the wife, which Gone Girl does the same thing.
Right.
And the characters are unlikable in both stories, but the difference is that the characters in Gone Girl are interesting.
Right.
They are interesting characters, and that book does kind of keep you on the edge of your seat, and there is suspense. Silent Wife, the characters were not interesting whatsoever. No. The book was boring. It was terrible. As hell.
Yeah.
Even when something happened, it wasn't much.
It was super anticlimactic, and then like I feel like the ending was rushed. Like she went into he or she went into all this detail about nonsense throughout the course of the whole book, and then they were like, oh shit, better wrap this up, and then like hurried the.
Well, I think that she died before that book was published.
Really?
So I mean, I think she completed it. I'm pretty sure it was complete.
I think so.
But I know that it was published like posthumously. So I don't know. But
They
yeah,
should have held on to that. But maybe not. Maybe don't publish that.
Okay, so my last choice might be kind of controversial. Some people might hate me for this one.
Unpopular opinion.
But I gotta go with Paper Towns by John Green. I did not enjoy that book. And I've read 2 John Green books. First one was The Fault in Our Stars, which I did like.
Right, I liked that one as well.
The Fault in Our Stars.
Yes.
It wasn't my favorite book ever, but I did really like it. So I had high hopes for Paper Towns. I had high expectations. I thought it would be at least as good as The Fault in Our Stars.
Right.
I did not like it at all.
Oh.
It was just... I think that in some ways maybe I was too old to be reading it.
Okay.
Because I read it last year, so I was, well out of my teens.
Yes. We are old.
But, yeah, the whole time I was reading it, I just kept thinking, like, none of this shit's gonna matter to you guys in 10 years.
Just give it some time. You're gonna grow
get
up.
over it.
It's fine.
And I think that the point of the book, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think John Green was kind of trying to say that you shouldn't put people on pedestals because the main character, Quentin, which I didn't explain what the book was about. I think most of you already know.
Right.
But the main character, Quentin, is kind of in love with his neighbor, Margot.
Okay.
But he doesn't really know her. They used to be friends when they were small children, and they experienced this traumatic event together.
Okay.
And then she's kind of a wild child. She runs away from home frequently, and then she runs away, and she leaves this clue for him. And I mean, they assume she's run away. They don't really know what happened to her. But she leaves this clue that he just knows is for him. And so he goes on this quest to find her and figure out. And he's also like kind of afraid something happened to her and blah, blah, blah. But this whole time, like he thinks that he's going to find her and, it's going to be like they're going to live happily ever after or something.
Like high schoolers
and
do.
It doesn't turn out that way.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it just, I don't know. I just didn't connect with it at all. And I also do think that John Green can be pretty pretentious sometimes with his writing. Even in The Fault in Our Stars, I appreciate that he wrote teenagers as intelligent.
Absolutely.
Teenagers, not all of them are dumb, stupid kids.
Right.
A lot of teenagers are very intelligent.
Intelligent kids, right.
Yeah.
But some of the dialogue was pretty pretentious.
They were pretty pretentious in The Fault in Our Stars, and that's realistic for a few teenagers, but not very many. I think.
It's not the majority.
And in Paper Towns, I think the characters were more realistic.
Okay.
But the writing was still kind of I feel like he was trying to be much deeper than it really was. But I know this is a lot of people's favorite book. I've heard a lot of people say that they absolutely love this book. Maybe I was just too old to connect to it. Well, I don't know, but I did not enjoy Paper Towns at all.
Right.
But I'm willing to give John Green another shot. I probably will read another one of his books. Because at the moment, it's like, I'm torn.
50-50, so you need a tiebreaker.
Right. I'm torn on whether I really like him or not, I guess.
Yeah.
So, and I do like John Green. I like him. I watched Vlogbrothers and some of the, Mental Floss and his other YouTube channels. Right. And I enjoy him and everything he does, but except perhaps his writing.
Perhaps his writing. And I think that's always a risk you take as an adult reading young adult fiction. True. Is feeling like disconnected from it and kind of like some of the things in it are ridiculous. Yeah. So not that, and it's like, I feel like an asshole saying that because I feel like I'm saying like teenagers are ridiculous. They're not, but there's a lot of things that I cared about as a teenager that looking back now, I'm like, that didn't matter. Not even a little. Didn't matter at all. So I've been drinking Vanilla Bean Buffalo Sweat from Tallgrass Brewing Company. This is really delicious. There's some cinnamon. It too. Yeah, she tried it too. There's like some cinnamon in there, and it's really sweet and rich, and I like it. And I've been drinking Peter, Pale, and Mary from McKellar Brewing, which is where? I don't know. I think it's Belgium. And it's good.
I mean, it's nothing special really. It
Okay.
just tastes like a pale ale. The can's cool and the name's cool.
Yeah.
So there's that.
That's pretty awesome. I thought the design was pretty neat.
Yeah,
On there.
but it's just a standard pale ale really.
Okay.
So if you like pale ales,
Give it a
it's
go.
good,
It's pretty
you know?
decent.
All right.
All right.
So that's it. We hope we didn't offend anyone too badly by reaming their favorite book or anything.
Hopefully not.
Let us know if you agree or disagree with
Yeah.
any of our choices.
Leave us some comments. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, and tell us if you got some least favorite books. Let us
Yeah.
know so we can avoid them.
Yeah, definitely. But thanks for watching. If you like what you see on our channel, please feel free to subscribe and like our videos. And
Yeah, and we'll have some links and information down below where you can find us elsewhere.
yes.
And that's it.
That's it for us.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.